Look closely at this scene. On stage at Fanatics Fest, Trae Young pulled a Jalen Brunson number 11 jersey out of his pocket, in front of a crowd packed with Knicks fans. He grabbed it with both hands and tried to rip it in half. The jersey was apparently too well made to tear, but Trae never broke character before casually tossing it into the crowd. At that moment, the boos nearly blew the roof off the building, and he did not even flinch. The rivalry between Knicks fans and Trae began in the 2021 playoffs. 5 years later, New York still treats him like public enemy number one, and to this day, it still has not faded. In May 2021, the Knicks returned to the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. In the first round, they faced the 5th-seeded Hawks. In the final moments of Game 1, with the score tied at 105, Trae hit a go-ahead floater. Then he turned toward the roaring crowd and put a finger to his lips, leaving the Knicks with less than a second to respond. The Hawks stole Game 1 and spoiled New York's long-awaited return to the playoffs. That night, he became one of only 4 players in NBA history to record at least 30 points and 10 assists in his playoff debut. After the game, Trae posted on social media, "What they gon' say next? 1-0. Game 2 was still at Madison Square Garden. Derrick Rose exploded for 26 points and helped New York hold serve at home with a 101-92 win. The series was tied at 1 game apiece. Then the series shifted to Atlanta. Trae dictated the game as both a scorer and a playmaker. In the next 2 games, he put up 21 points and 14 assists, then 27 points and 9 assists, leading the Hawks to 2 straight wins. With the Hawks leading the series 3-1, they returned to New York. The final chapter came in Game 5. Trae dropped 36 points and 9 assists, leading the Hawks to eliminate the Knicks 4-1. In the 4th quarter, when he hit a deep 3 to put the game away, Trae added one final taunt. He leaned forward and took a bow at center court in front of the Knicks crowd. That bow completely cemented him as public enemy number 1 in New York. In that series, he averaged over 29 points and nearly 10 assists. He scored over 30 points in all 3 games he played at Madison Square Garden. He joined Michael Jordan as the only visiting players to score at least 30 points in 3 straight playoff games at Madison Square Garden. Trae's performances at Madison Square Garden were almost impossible to contain, and it was not just the playoffs. In a regular season game at Madison Square Garden, he once dropped 45 points. His 3 straight 30-point playoff games at MSG tied Jordan for the longest such streak by a visiting player. It was inside this legendary arena, where he repeatedly got whatever he wanted, that he earned the right to talk back to the crowd. During the New York mayoral election that same year, someone jokingly wrote in Trae's name, he received 1 vote, and just like that, the nickname Mayor of New York became an even bigger part of the joke. After the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals, the Hawks never broke through again. They suffered several first-round exits and even missed the playoffs. Trae's defensive weaknesses were put under the microscope again and again. During the 2025-26 season, when he was out with injury, the Hawks actually went 15-13 without him. Their defense improved. The team eventually decided to change direction. In January 2026, he was traded to the Wizards, ending his 8-season run in Atlanta, but the anti-Trae chants still refused to die. In the 2026 playoffs, the Knicks once again faced the Hawks in the first round. Game 1 was at Madison Square Garden. When Brunson stepped to the free throw line to seal the win, nearly 20,000 fans did not chant MVP. Instead, they chanted the same words they had been yelling 5 years earlier in perfect unison. The problem was that Trae had already been traded from the Hawks to the Wizards more than 3 months earlier. He was no longer even part of the series, yet somehow the chants still found him. Throughout the playoff run, New York fans kept breaking into chants of Trae Young across the city. After the Knicks won the championship, those chants finally gave way to MVP chants for Brunson. On the court, this hostile relationship between Knicks fans and Trae will almost certainly continue into next season, because the Wizards now look like another Eastern Conference team that has suddenly become far more dangerous. As the defending champions, the Knicks will clearly become the team everyone in the East is coming for. Since that 2021 series, Trae has not faced the Knicks in the playoffs again. but in the upcoming season, the rivalry between the two sides may very well be renewed in the playoffs and begin a new chapter. Washington has given Trae another chance to reshape his story. Just look at the roster Washington has assembled. Last year, they brought in Anthony Davis. This summer, they added Deandre Ayton on a team-friendly contract. Add in the 2024 number 2 pick Alex Sarr and the 2026 number 1 pick AJ Dybantsa. 3 number 1 picks and 1 number 2 pick, paired with an all-star point guard. In terms of offense, defense, and talent, few rosters in the league can match that combination. More importantly, these 5 players share one thing: they all have something to prove. Anthony Davis wants to prove that he is still elite after leaving Los Angeles. Ayton wants to prove that even though he is making only $8 million a year, he is more than a backup. The two young players need to live up to the expectations that come with being the number 1 and number 2 picks. And Trae needs to prove even more that he was not the problem. Atlanta simply gave up on him too soon. Talent is not rare. What is rare is the motivation driving that talent, especially when a group of players eager to prove the entire league wrong comes together. Once that chemistry ignites, Washington will become the biggest wild card in the East, and Trae will eventually step onto the floor at Madison Square Garden once again.